project really embodies what libraries are really all about, creating stories that connect us, heal us, and help us better understand each other. The Storytelling for Literacy project, it's part of Writing Change, an initiative of the American Library Association and Estée Lauder companies in collaboration with the National Youth Poet Laureate, Amanda Gorman, which supports organizations advancing literacy as a pathway to equality and social change. So we're so grateful for their funding that made this happen. Through this project, we worked with 10 participants who courageously shared their personal stories after receiving digital storytelling training from our team here at CCPL and mental health support from our local partners. We are deeply grateful to Turn 90, who helped recruit and support participants throughout this journey, Dr. Sarissa Hugie of Mindspace, who provided mental health support, and of course our dedicated CCPL team, Melissa Tunstall, who was the fearless leader of this project, Kathleen Montgomery, who supported its strategic direction, and Julian Gooding, who trained participants in digital storytelling. We also want to recognize Ralph Turnell of ATM Carolina Incorporated, who generously donated the payphone used for this project. It used to be hanging at Main Library and was a used payphone until they stopped using payphones. Shulman Creative, who retrofit the phone with new technology. It was an interesting story. They had retrofit another payphone to play bird songs, and we had found them online, and they were wonderful to work with, and we were able to use them to play these stories instead. The American College of the Building Arts, who designed and built the booth. Photographer Sasha Vargas, who captured the stunning portraits in our accompanying book. And Roxy Burrow, our creative manager, whose vision shaped both the booth and the publication that you'll see today. And of course, our executive director, Angela Craig, who has been so supportive throughout this project that took many, many hours. To each of you, our community partners, our storytellers, and our guests, thank you for being a part of this moment. Now, it is my sincere honor to introduce tonight's moderator, a journalist whose integrity and storytelling has inspired the community for decades, Carolyn Murray, anchor and journalist with WCBD News 2.
Good evening, everyone. Is this microphone on? Yep, there we go. I am deeply grateful to be with you to share an evening that will be meaningful in so many ways. My heartfelt thanks to the staff and team of the Charleston County Public Library for asking me to be part of the listening booth launch, Stories of the Formerly Incarcerated and Their Families. Storytelling has shaped my life in so many ways. From my father's sermons as a Baptist minister here in Charleston to my mother working as a nursing aide at the Medical University of South Carolina, to listening to my daughter share stories with her classmates in the backseat of the car, to driving hundreds of thousands of miles with my husband and listening to books on audio tape. Listening, reading, sharing. It is what life is about. And then the way many of you have witnessed my work, 37 years working as a news anchor and reporter in Charleston. Thank you. Storytelling truly has shaped me into the person I've become. Every single story, every single interview has resulted in the person standing before you. No matter the person's wealth, education, athleticism, artistry, stories matter. And each and every one of us has a story to tell. Tonight, we have the privilege of hearing from the people who participated in this project, as well as library staff members and partners who supported them along the way. Their work is a potent reminder that storytelling isn't just an act of sharing. Is it an act of healing and a way that we connect? So please join me in welcoming our panelists. T. Noel, Terrence Brown, forklift operator expert now as a part of his new title, I understand. Julian Gooding, digital media coordinator. Melissa Tunstall. And Justin Evans. You will hear 10 voices. You will hear courage, and you will hear the sound of resilience and the deeply personal impact of incarceration. Each participant has chosen to share a part of their truth, inviting each and every one of us to listen with empathy and to see the humanity behind the statistics.
I was sentenced to a 25-year sentence in federal prison at the age of 23. It felt like life was over when the judge banged the gavel.
No matter what I go through, what chances I gotta face, I'm gonna redeem myself for her. Not only for myself, for her and my nephews and nieces.
You know what's hard? Explaining to a child why someone they never get to know is just missing. Why daddy can't come home.
37 months, I couldn't calculate that. But by the time I'm attempting to calculate that, they're slapping handcuffs on my wrist.
Because I didn't judge a book by its cover, here we are now flourishing with a peace of mind and happiness, and with a happy family that we did begin together.
Courage, resilience, personal impact of incarceration. That is how we start this conversation tonight. Again, guests, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your stories. Terrence, we begin with you. Terrence was bragging at the back of the room that he didn't know how to operate a forklift and is now teaching others to do that. What an amazing amount of growth. But Terrence, you also have done some other challenging things, and one of which is sharing your story. And I'm curious about what inspired you to share your story through this project.
Happy to be here. One of the things that inspired me to share this story with you all is to just normalize who we are as humans. A lot of times you hear that somebody went to prison and you have a bad taste in your mouth. You have a stigma that you place over this person. You put a jacket on this person that they probably don't even really wear. I could tell you a story when I got arrested at 17 years old. You know what the cop told me? You was just dumb enough to want to get caught. I never got caught. So I wanted to be able to share the story because I wanted y'all to be able to empathize with us and to be able to just get an insight into our world, because these are things that some of you all will never have to even experience. So you can hear and you can visualize it through our experience.
How did you feel when you were approached about this project? Did you have any reservations about participating, or was this something you were eager to do? Or did you just feel as if this was something you were compelled to do, that it was important that your voice be heard?
It was more like compelling, I would say. A lot of times we're still trying to find our identities and who we are. We try to figure out what paths we should take. And along this journey, we get a lot of options and a lot of opportunities. So this was an opportunity to be able to be involved in a special project like this one, to be able to get the word out, to be able to just share our experiences. And for that, I had to come. I had to do this project. I think it was absolutely, it was necessary for me personally.
And Terrence, do you feel as if you've grown as a result of just participating in this and having these sessions, for example, with Julian?
I have definitely grown since then. Like I was talking to him earlier, I actually started writing a book myself. So I'm actually constructing, drafting, and the thing that stuck out to me the most was y'all are official authors. I ain't never been an author of anything. So once
Can we
again-
still call you Terrence, though? Oh,
You can call me Terrence,
okay.
TV,
Mr. Terrence.
Mr. Brown. But yeah, it was. I just had to be here, and I was inspired. You know, more than anything, it was just something that I recommend that should happen again, if there's an opportunity, and I believe that it's going to be absolutely beneficial to the community.
Thank you, Terrence. T, when someone is incarcerated, the entire family feels the effects of it. What can you share about your story with your brother?
Good evening. My story with my brother, it was what you expect. You're worried, you're concerned. Are they well? Waiting for phone calls, holidays, them just missing. So it's just the most impactful part of that was when the judge hit the gavel and was like, 25 years. I can just feel my legs falling under me because, as he says in his story, he wasn't even 25 yet when he was sentenced to 25 years. So just as family members, you're just waiting by that phone. You're just praying you don't get the call that something's happened, or just in his instance, he has sickle cell. And so that's the more importance of being concerned, because will he get the proper health care?
So you were dealing with a lot of worries. You were thinking about his well-being as well as his health. I'm sure that was difficult for the whole family. Did you feel as if you had a place that you could find support while you were trying to support your brother?
The support was actually me speaking with him, me hearing his voice. Usually we stay silent in situations because, as Terrence said, you know, everyone, oh, prison, oh, jail, oh, that's bad, oh, you know, they did something bad, so they deserve, you know, the sentence or whatever they got. But that's not always true. How they say bad people do bad things, but sometimes good people get affiliated with bad things, but they're still good people. So it's just the overall impact that the support system really is minimal. You have to know people or just create your own community network to actually support yourself as a family member and those behind bars.
Did participating in this project feel as if you had found another community where you felt supported?
I did, because I was silent. My brother wasn't the only part of my story. My oldest son's father was incarcerated when I was 6 months pregnant. I was 17, 3 weeks fresh out of high school. And my son is 32 and he was still incarcerated. So it's just going from one silence to another painful silence. And it's just, this project just really allowed me to not be stuck and silent anymore. It allowed me to have a voice, because I've contributed to probably 3 other contributions to books, but I never spoke about this. It was a pain point, but I never spoke about it. So they not only gave me my voice, but they educated me on a lot of the digital storytelling, a lot of podcasts. And Julian, first thing he asked, did you start your book? Did you start your book? Because I've always been a contributor, but I started my book, but I didn't start it.
T, what was different about this process? You said that you've been a part of others, but there was something about this that resonated with you in a different way, that you felt comfortable or safe or at peace and wanted to share. So can you think of what that was that made you want to move forward?
Being a big fish with a lot of other big fish. Because just listening partially, just the initial, you know, after work, oh gosh, this class is 6 to 8, or and Saturday it was like 9 to 5. I'm like, oh my gosh, can I really do this? You know, and it wasn't the incentive. It was just, when I really did it because I learned, and I learned a lot. They were very helpful. It just, not only the project in itself, but it allowed me to grow into something that I knew I had and something that I always started, but I never finished. So just to actually see that not only is it digital, but it actually is written as well, it's very impactful because that part of me, I can finally feel free.
Mhm. When you saw the book, what was your reaction to that tonight?
It was the title, and I had initially said, oh goodness, I haven't seen the pictures from the photographer, because my youngest son, he attended with me to come take my photograph, and I did not know he was going to be famous too, and he's actually in the book with a huge embrace. So that just really resonated with, oh, I didn't know they were gonna do this. So it just, in the words, the title, in their own words.
That means everything to you.
It does.
You felt supported emotionally as well, and there was, I imagine, moments when it was difficult to talk about some things. You felt supported in sharing those more difficult stories?
It was, because initially I used ChatGPT. I know all of you AIs in here. I used it to try to curate my story, but it didn't curate it to what I really felt. So I had to use my own words. So when I saw that, I kind of chuckled because, you know, the AI generation these days, it just, hey, it's easy. Let's put this in here. It'll create. And Julian even taught us shortcuts and different ways to use AI. And sometimes it does what you want it to do, and sometimes it doesn't. So it just truly resonated with letting go and being free and using my own words.
Thank you, T. Terrence, I'm curious about what was the most challenging part. T shared sometimes she was uncomfortable and might rely on another source. Were there some challenging parts to actually getting the words out for you?
Yes. A lot of times my mind is faster than my mouth. And so when I'm telling these stories, just trying to make sure that they're in sync and that I'm staying on topic from start to finish, that was maybe my most challenging thing.
Julian, you're hearing these storytellers talk about the art of storytelling. Did you anticipate that this project would result in what we are seeing tonight?
Yes.
Confident. I like that.
And it has nothing to do with me. Just for as many years that I've been working in the fields of documentary making, everyone has a story. And that's one of the golden rules of being a good documentary maker, is sometimes you just shut up and listen. And you let people share their story. And you give them that space to do it. And find their voice and figure it out, and interject when necessary to help pull out the words that they may be searching for, because it is intimidating to have a microphone and a camera. And I didn't even say action, I just hit roll, and I would say, when you're ready. And they did it. I really didn't have, I'm not kidding, I really didn't have to do much work. We showed them things and techniques and whatnot, but when you give people that opportunity to recognize that they're important too, they will deliver. So I had no doubt.
Julian, was there, as a part of any process with people becoming familiar with you, and as they, got to know you and you got to know them, being more comfortable with sharing their story, did they at first come out and just immediately started sharing intimate details, their concerns, their fears, their apprehensions, or did it happen as a result of relationship building, and then they became more comfortable with sharing their story?
I would say definitely 3 of the participants took a little bit more time. I allowed them to cry when we were alone in the room to find their words. And others, like your brother, he's been kind of stalking me a little bit.
Deanna is in the room.
But it's all in a good way. He's back there now. He has an unbelievable sense of humor, and he is a storyteller. He is a bit of a comedian. He showed up at one of my cooking programs one time, and and like I said, I think he's following me. But it's all in jest. No, some were like Dion, dying to share your story. He wants to come up here now and take my seat.
I'm curious to hear from Justin and Terrence and Dion and I shared a laugh at the back of the room because, of course, Justin is with Turn 90, and I shared with him that I am a yogi, and the award for participating in the yoga challenge this year was that we received t-shirts that were made by Turn 90. So we discovered that this evening has come full circle for us tonight. So Justin, you dealing with a community of people who have been incarcerated and being a part of this project, give me an idea of the kind of growth you have seen and the value Turn 90 brings to this community and beyond.
I can't say I did much of the project. I probably slowed Melissa down through forgetting to respond to emails and stuff. But the growth in Turn 90, I think part of it is exactly what you're saying, is as we've grown, I've been with Turn 90 for 10 years now, and we started as just a cognitive behavioral therapy program. That was it. And realized we need to grow more because 3 hours a day isn't enough. Even though we were paying them, 3 hours a day is not enough pay to do anything. So as we started businesses, it was really more of a way to engage men coming home from prison all day, to give them full access to full-time pay. But the cool byproduct has been that. It has been this community involvement. So people aren't going to come into the center every day because people have their own jobs as well. But to be able to, for what we've heard our guys say is, I can go home and tell my mom I print shirts now. And that really kind of blew us away too. Like, we weren't expecting that as we do like these satisfaction surveys just to make sure that we're doing a good job in providing the services that the men want. And that was more important to them than almost anything else, than even the actual pay, was that they can tell their family that they do something now they're proud of. Now, the other part of it is, as they go out in the community, they see people wearing these shirts that they printed. And as we've evolved as an organization and moved into, I always forget, it's industrial services is now what we're doing. So really it's light manufacturing. So we're doing that in 2 of our 3 centers now, and the same thing is true. So now this product comes through, and these products are seen in the community, that they are putting hands on and packaging for companies and building for companies, and then also being engaged with these companies, where when you are, your dignity is taken away. Is that right? Mm-hmm. You would agree with that, right? Yeah. Your dignity is taken away as you're put in a jumpsuit and held in cuffs and taken away from your community, your family, and from everything that you know. Yeah, you still want to be connected, but the pain is incredible that comes with that. And to be stripped from all of that dignity, but also be stripped of community. You build community inside, but then you come out and you feel apart. And so to be able to see the shirts you're creating, to be a part of events like this, just helps bridge that gap again, to remind the men coming home from prison that they are part of community, and that for most of our guys, we've placed at the city of Charleston for over 10 years now, and they'll call me and go, I'm on a parade route and there's a police officer standing next to me. He has no idea I've ever been to prison. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And they're just talking and chatting each other and getting to know each other and become friends. And they never thought they'd be friends with a police officer, but they also just thought a police officer would never look them up and down and not see them as a criminal. And now they are fully back in the fold and starting to realize that you can be viewed differently, but also you were never not part of community, even if the justice system took you away from that.
Justin, how is one chosen, or how does one become a part of Turn 90 and take advantage of this program? Because it sounds as if there is no downside to it.
Well, there's downside because you're getting out of prison.
Well.
Right? So, that's what we always say is like, probably not the place you want to be. But if you are coming home from prison, then that is probably where you want to be.
Right.
So for us, it's a lot of outreach, a lot of word of mouth here in Charleston since we've been here for so long. But like TB and Dion are good examples. They got released. They found out about us, probably both of you through the halfway house, I guess, right? Yeah. So word of mouth through the halfway house, or we do flyers in prisons. We have prison programs right now that have started over the last couple of years. So a lot of that you get released, you call us up, and we basically sit down and do an interview with the person to make sure that we're going to be able to provide the services that person needs, but also to make sure that they do need it. It's unusual, but somebody could be released from prison and have really everything they need. They have the support, they have the protective barriers around them and family and a place to live. And those people typically come from affluent families, which most of our people don't. And if you're justice involved, you probably didn't come from an affluent family. So we just make sure that it's going to all be a good fit. So the other part is true. If somebody comes out and they've been working most of their life and they have a lot of job skills, we just need to get you to work. Now, not always, but I mean, it's a little more complicated than that. But TB is a good example of that. Like he's had a career before, but just also that background, the criminal background now prevented him from going back into that field. And so just trying to remove as many barriers. So we work with men with the most barriers to get back into it. They just reach out to us and we do an interview, and if we can, we get them working pretty quick.
Of course, the other big component in the conversation we are having tonight is the conversation and storytelling. And so, Melissa, we listened to all of these elements, up here on this panel. And I'm just wondering about how the element of storytelling really fulfills the library's mission of uplift and service and connecting people, because that's what a library does.
And that's what storytelling does. It gives us a way to connect with people in ways that we might not live that same experience, but we can understand it through their shared words, their shared stories. And I mean, it's the greatest thread of all history is storytelling, whether that's sitting around a campfire or talking while you're trekking across a country, whatever it is, like that's storytelling, and it's how we connect, how we build relationships, and that's what libraries are doing too. We are connecting with our communities. We're building relationships with people, and we're building that trust. And I don't know.
And I'm curious about what the catalyst was for this. I mean, who had the idea that this would be an amazing way of helping people to share their story, to heal, for us to build empathy? Whose idea was it?
I think it was a group think. I know Natalie had the amazing idea with the phone. Like, she was like, don't get rid of that phone. We're going to use it. And she found a way. And then our partners with the American Library Association and Estée Lauder really guided the first round of storytelling. And Julian being we're so lucky to have him on staff to teach storytelling and teach these digital elements. It was really like a true group effort. And then we had a staff day recently, and we were sharing this project, and we were talking about future storytelling ideas and how community storytelling ideas, and the staff had such amazing ideas. So I think we're all excited to get back to it after this, to get some more stories on the phone booth after this one is over.
We love that. And I'm curious about, it's not just, of course, we appreciate hearing the voice, but some of it sometimes is something even more intimate to the person, and that is journaling and the work being written down. And I'm curious, Julian, what that means and how might we eventually see that, and also how it helps with the healing process for those who are participating.
Yeah, that's one of the aspects that I encourage, and I hope that they will continue to do, is take that time to continue journaling. Having a diary, having a journal. I even gave them examples of sometimes just opening up your cell phone and hitting that voice memo and just letting things come out and emote. And then you can come back later on and listen to it and pull from that if you want to, but at least you have that opportunity to have that a way to kind of like journaling, sometimes after you journal and you come back and look at what you wrote when you thought the world was coming to an end, and you read it a month later and you go, what in the world was I thinking? You know. So those techniques are very important. Especially, it's very hard when I work with young men, and especially young African American men. We tend to push our boys too heavily into sports, and we don't push the literacy. I was talking earlier with you about what I'm working on, the beautiful bookish Black Boy Survival Guide, because I was that bookish black child. Could play sports, but I preferred reading a book sitting under a tree or being in the woods, and you're stigmatized and called names. So now how do you get grown men to journal? A journal resonates in their heads like keeping a diary. Well, that's one of the reasons why we call it a journal. So, but that's when I started using other tools. You've got your, because I see hip hop musicians will do that. They'll open up their phone and then they'll just start throwing out ideas and bars and just getting it all. And I go, oh, there's that same thing. So try it through hip hop.
So you might be rapping soon, Julian?
Oh, I won't be rapping.
Oh, okay. I just want to know.
Dion will be.
You heard it here first.
But yeah, again, if hip hop works, that's another form of writing.
Right.
It is a form of storytelling. It's one of those things that people didn't understand outside of the urban communities and communities that were under stress and strife and marginalized. But then suddenly, people realize that, oh, they're telling my story, and suddenly you see that what they thought was going to go away is over 50 years old now. Mm-hmm. So there's different avenues for journaling, but journaling in any form is very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Terrence, listening to what Julian just described, and I'm curious about your personal experience, some of the storytelling part of it, whether it was you actually using your voice to tell the story or journaling, if that's something that you've done, how helpful has that been to you personally in terms of moving you forward and feeling motivated, even with the Turn 90 program? And just as a person, how impactful has sharing your story been to you?
It's been very impactful. And like Julian said, it's so many forms and ways that you can use as an outlet to tell a story. And a lot of times, for me, it was impactful because it just let me know that my story is important. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, if we don't deem something important, we write it off. And a lot of times, we judge things from our perspective instead of somebody else's. So we tend to throw things away that the next person finds valuable. Mm-hmm. So for me, just making sure that I recognize within myself that my story is important. Somebody do care, mm-hmm. and now it's in a book.
Now it's in a book. That's right.
Now it's on the payphone. So that's what I would say would be most impactful. It's just to be able to say that.
Have you encouraged anyone else to share their story?
I have not.
Well, I think you have. I mean, that's a big part. I kind of like even what Julian was saying. I mean, that's the ethos at Turn 92. Get out of the way and let people tell their story. And TB is great at that. Dion's great at that. With these other men who are being released, because we don't go, hey, you should work and you should do this. No, what do you want? And we listen. So you do.
And see, just like I say, we write it off, but then the next person picks it up and say, hey, this is actually important.
Right. Not something that you would think of in that context, but you're doing it probably organically, not even realizing that you're doing it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Melissa, one of the really big elephant in the room that's actually not in the room, it's right outside the room, talking about the listening booth, has become a true vessel for people to hear these stories. And I was speaking with Angela, and we were saying how there's just something so intimate about that listening booth and having a phone up to your ear and hearing this story that you really feel as if someone is right in front of you. How important has that been in this entire process? And I'm so happy that my dear friend, Pulitzer Prize winner here on the front row, Natalie, had the idea to use this in this way, because it really, I think, that physical thing changes everything about the way you hear these stories.
And it personalizes it. It's like you're being told it, just you. It's just for you, even though it is for the whole community. And I think that I didn't realize really like this is how cool it was going to be until I got to hold the the phone?
Yeah.
The
receiver,
phone
I think is a receiver.
I was like the handle.
Because we never have to say that anymore.
That's why the youth are going.
Right.
Yeah, to hold it up to my ear and hear these stories. And it makes it so much more personal rather than just listening through my earpods. I love Libby, but this is something completely different. Like I feel like I'm being let into someone's life. And that's also something where it's like these people, like we're so grateful that y'all shared because now we're learning so much.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that Justin mentioned is a word that I think everyone recognizes as a part of this big conversation. It is dignity. And T, I think it's one of the things that you've talked about when you faced what it is to be someone who was affected by incarceration with your brother and also your baby's father. Talk about the element of dignity and how you believe their dignity is in some way lifted through a part of the storytelling process.
I'll speak on my experience when I first entered the room on the first day. Initially, it was kind of warm and fuzzy because there were only maybe 2 or 3 of us that haven't been incarcerated, but we were the families. So, when you think of incarceration, you think of shame, you think of all of the negative words, but like you said, the dignity was in the room. It was not formerly incarcerated individuals. Everyone was eager to learn, everyone was attentive, everyone was like listening. Not some people listen to hear, some people supposedly listen, but I think everyone in the room had dignity because they were listening to understand. They wanted to learn. So with me sharing my story that I never shared, and I said, initially you're going to walk in shame, but literally you don't know that there are so many others that are like you. But the title of my story was Sentences That Shaped Me. And literally those sentences did shape me for many years as, like I said, the years of incarceration. And it shaped me into being strong for that family member, being strong for the outside family members, but not only that, being strong for myself, because although you had shame on one shoulder and dignity on the other, now that the story is here for others to listen, then those that may be feeling what you felt, they can be bold enough to share their story.
Well said, T. In Their Own Words is the name of the book. And so, Julian, I will start with you. In your own words, what has this project meant to you?
It is, especially in these trying times, politically, and what we're dealing with, what our libraries are dealing with. What this says is that, we are all human beings. And you mentioned how we tried to create the warm and fuzzy, because that's what we do in libraries. We try not to judge. We try to create these safe spaces. So to see this, like I said, I'm not surprised to see the outcome. I'm happy to see that once again that CCPL took the initiative to do these wonderful and extraordinary things, even creating the multimedia tools and facilities that we have throughout our system so that we can remove gatekeepers so that you can continue and self-publish. And even if you can't find a publisher, you can still self-publish. You can create it for yourself and give it to your friends or family. We try to remove those hurdles and those barriers. And hopefully when you're listening to the folks on the phone and what you've already heard here, there is dignity, there is an intellect, there is love and caring. You have a patent that you created for Boeing, right? So there's scientists, there's all kinds of things that's within these individuals, and in their own words, hopefully you'll hear that. They were marginalized individuals. They may have been young men that maybe they just shoplifted because they were hungry, because our system isn't working properly. Maybe they were slinging rock because the system isn't working properly, and so somebody is able to give them a couple of dollars to put food on their table. There's struggle that's out there that oftentimes have these individuals incarcerated, and hopefully when you listen to these stories, you realize that we have a system that is working exactly what it was designed to do. And maybe we'll all go out and vote, right? Get rid of cash bail that keeps people incarcerated. Maybe say, okay, we're not going to give you 5 years, we're going to give you probation. We're going to treat you the same way we do treat the people that lives on a different side of town that has white collar crime. You get a slap on the hand. You know, this side of town, you get incarcerated. I can keep going into the politics, but I'm hoping people will understand and listen and understand that these are human beings with heart and soul and caring and loving and wonderful people.
Thank you, Julia. Melissa.
My turn. I think that there are too many words that come to mind to try and narrow it down, but I think, unlike Julian, I entered with a bit more hesitancy about how the project was going to evolve because there were so many things. It was our first time trying a project like this, so many unknowns that were coming into it. And then we had people sign up that we'd never met, and so it's like we're coming into this group. Are they going to work? Like, what's that going to be like? And the moment, I have a similar story, like the moment that everyone gathered, I was like, oh no, we're going to be okay. Like everyone was here. They were excited to be here, excited to share, and I was like a sponge ready to like take it all in. And then having Julian lead it, I don't know if you remember this, but it was like 15 minutes in and you're already getting stories out of them just by asking a simple, like one question. And it was just this like beautiful story. I cry very easily, but I was already in tears. And so for me, it's like, I hope that everyone who listens to this story has the same sort of like, hopefully a similar reaction where they're open to learning, open to hearing, and just like connecting with our neighbors, our community.
I'll say, Justin.
Yeah, I think, really two kind of concepts come to mind, and one is kind of a little bit like what Julian's talking about, this echo chamber that society has kind of built. So if you're online, you're hearing similar stories to your own story, and so you're missing out on this whole other piece. And people will stumble upon this book and upon that payphone and accidentally, hear another perspective, because that's what always blows me away as I'm watching, like if one of my players on one of the teams I support gets arrested, I'm thinking, you knucklehead, saying all this stuff, going, get him off the team. And I'm like, oh, wait, all the guys that I love, but I know their story. And so if you know the story behind it, it changes because, why were they engaging? And maybe it's just because they just wanted to, but you look at it and go, but if you know the whole story, if you're in a neighborhood that it's accepted and you're in a family that's pushing it, like, of course you're going to be involved in that. Like, my boys are teenagers now, and they're talking about doing work like I do because that's what's going to happen. And I mean, they want to be soccer players first, but yeah, their fallback is to kind of go on me. And then the other one is just that authenticity, that it's really awesome to watch the stories that I have been privy to all these years get shared wider, because I didn't know you were going to play little snippets in the beginning. I haven't listened to any of it. I was starting to read the book right before, and I was tearing up already. The documentary turned on that had to come out. I've only watched it once, and it was at the premiere because every time I tried to watch it, and these are stories that I know intimately because I know all these guys very well, but it's just different seeing it, hearing it, or seeing it in a book, and it's really cool for them to be able to share that because, again, like what Julian said, is that everyone has a story, and it's easy to go, well, TBA has a cooler story than me. Well, maybe, but also it's important to be in those rooms to remove that echo chamber that TB and I have learned a lot from each other. Dion and I have learned a lot from each other over all these years. And yeah, you would normally say, well, it doesn't make sense, but you put any two people in a room, they're going to influence each other. And so I just really love the whole thing. I mean, it's just awesome, and it's going to be really cool to see it. Just like our shirts, you bump into them out in the community.
Right.
I'll get to go out somewhere, and there's somebody at the battery reading the book, and you'll be like, awesome, yeah. It'll be just be really cool, yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Justin, thank you. Terrence? Excuse me, author Terrence.
Forklift operator and author.
I like that. Keep it coming. For me, it just boils down to perspective. Being able to expose our stories and to be able to share our stories gives people a much more different perspective and a much more lens to be able to look at life and to look at people. And sometimes it may even humble you. You know, it's a lot of times I like to do a lot of self-reflection. And in the self-reflection, there's self-correction. So sometimes when I'm hearing different stories or hearing some people's perspectives, I'm able to reflect on my own self, and then I'm able to move forward in knowing, oh, I don't need to make that decision. Oh, I can make this decision. So I think life is revolved around perspectives, you know, and just like he said, if you don't get the full story, you're going to be like, yeah, get that man off the field, not knowing this person might have an illness, a hidden injury. You just don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. And so you can't be blamed for it. But now that we have these resources, we can now pop in and just think, okay, this person is telling a story that I'm interested in, and when I move forward and I see another person that says they came home from prison, I may stop and think about who this person may really be.
Oh, I can't wait for his second book. Sorry. I can't wait for book 2.
Coming soon.
Okay. T.
When I think of in your own words, I think of it being freeing. And the reason I say that is because everyone knows the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none. So I do a lot. Into a lot. I have a lot of talents. I have a lot of purposes. But to actually see this from the beginning, from the initial sign up, the emails, because she sends a lot. Just, attending, okay, this is what it's going to be about. This is the project. Oh, this is how we do podcasts. Now we're going to tell your story. Let's do this. And now I'm going to teach you this. And even after Julian said, I'm available, give me a call, send me an email, Melissa, they both were just very helpful. And I did, in the interim between the beginning of the project and now, I did reach out to Julian because he said, why haven't you been doing this? I said, I've been doing it in my head, but I haven't done it completely on paper as far as podcasting or any of those things. So just to actually see this from the beginning to fruition, it's just very rewarding.
Thank you. Thank you to each of you for sharing your story. And I think we're going to take some questions from the audience. If anyone has a question or a comment, we would love to hear it. If you would just put your hand up, Vanna White will come by and put the microphone in front of you.
Good evening, I'm Sasha Vargas Gregory. I was actually honored to be the photographer. And honestly, when that was asked, I was not expecting all this. And now knowing how much more was it, just not only the phone or the book, but also how much knowledge you have reached. Like, I want to be part of this. Can I be part of this? All this digital stuff. My question is, how long did it take to do this project?
A year.
A little over.
Okay, awesome. Let me go to the next one. But I'm very proud, and honestly, I got to spend a little time with them, and they were so inspiring. I really want to hear more about your story. I want to help in any way possible, and I want to wear some shirts. So, but thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to photograph, because that was one of the best moments of my year. Thank you.
There's a question there.
The library does have so much to offer that, I mean, for those of us that are kind of connected, know that. I mean, Dion's always telling me what passes I can check out of the library to take my kids somewhere. It's awesome.
All right. right. Well, again, thank you to all of you being present. Most importantly, thank you to our panelists and for sharing your stories and to be so brave. Thank you to everyone who participated in this project. Your generosity has certainly brought this to life in a very profound way. And now, friends, we invite you to engage in the official unveiling of the listening booth. It is right outside these doors. We won't ask everyone to rush out at one time, but please take time to just spend a few minutes holding that receiver to your head and listening to powerful stories. You will hear voices of hope and voices of resilience and stories that will certainly stay with you for the rest of your lives. And so we invite you to, again, listen to the listening booth right outside the door. And we also have another very special gift for you, of course. Before you leave, we invite you to take a copy of the limited edition book. Of course, there's another one that's on the way. Terrence, insert picture of Terrence here. The book includes the transcriptions of the stories and also the portraits of the participants. Thank you so much for doing that. These books are complimentary for everyone and graciously supported by our partners, and we are grateful for that. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this conversation tonight. As I said at the start of this conversation, I've heard thousands of stories. They shape me into the person I am every single day, and today I feel even stronger than when I walked in this room. So thank you for this gift.
And thank you for moderating.
Thank you.
And thank you to Carolyn Murray for moderating, the participants, and the project leaders. Again, thanks to everyone who played a role, from our storytellers and our partners and our library staff and our funders. The listening booth will be featured here at the Keysami Library for the next 12 weeks. So if you don't get a chance to hear the stories today, please tell your friends. They can come and listen anytime. We'll also have the ebook featured on a kiosk next to the book. You can also check out the ebook from the library and the book itself from the library. So a lot of ways to connect. And just thank you again, everyone, for being here. We're so grateful. And there'll be some refreshments in the back. And thank you. Good night.